Hey, School Zone podcast listeners, Matt coming at you from sunny Stephenville, Texas. We call it EIEIO here. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Really excited to have Aaron Fuss of Think Kindness on today. Aaron is in the Reno, Nevada area. I've spent a bunch of time in Vegas, but never been to Reno. So I'm going to have to change that, I guess.
Yeah,
anyway,
missing out.
Aaron, give us a little background on you and some background on Think Kindness.
So a little bit of background in me. I have a formal education in journalism and art, actually, more strategic communications, advertising based kind of stuff. Worked in the advertising arena for a couple of years, realized I didn't like it, then kind of worked into nonprofit work and stumbled upon Think Kindness again. I actually did my internship in college for Think Kindness. So it's very much exploded since I first interned at Think Kindness. So kind of full circle. That's why you do those big internships in your undergraduate. So now I'm a few years out of college, kind of chasing the dream and working to kind of inspire kindness in schools and communities through Think Kindness's work. So which does educational programs, year-round curriculums, breakout sessions, a little bit of public speaking in that arena. So it's kind of cool to see all the growth.
Yeah. So how did Think Kindness get started? And talk a little bit more about, what you guys do, how you do it, that type of thing.
Yeah. So Think Kindness got its start in 2009. Brian Williams, the founder, kind of came up with this idea that what would it look like if we documented 1 million acts of kindness, and what kind of impact would that have on the world? And it kind of picked up some steam and got a little further from that. And next thing you know, we're traveling around the country doing public speaking, trying to document that 1 million acts of kindness. Brian Williams is he still is a martial arts, trains in martial arts. So it was something kind of inspired by his martial artist instructor, very kind of protege. It came down to how you can really create that biggest movement of kindness in schools. So the school part was added on after a couple of years of doing the speaking and really starting to engage students. Through this whole process, they stumbled upon realizing that we're actually reducing bully-related incidences through pro-kindness. So
how do you accomplish that? I mean, is it purely getting kids to focus on?
Yeah. So we come in and we kind of have two different main things that we work with. We have a year-round curriculum called our Kindness Crew, and then we do school takeovers through our 15 Days of Kindness Challenge. So each of those different arenas, we're able to be in the school year-round through the 15 Days of Kindness Challenge, and then we do try to create content for the web. We have a podcast ourselves, the Parenting Ninja podcast. We're looking at launching a video podcast or news show around good news. We're creating content and putting good out in the world every day. So when we come in and do our school takeover, we make it exciting. We really gamify the kindness, challenge students to really think out of the box in the ways that they challenge to be kind. So for example, our theme this year for our elementary school is Kindness Ninja. So it's super exciting. Do a kind act on the down low, be a little sneaky about it, sneak up on people with kindness. And it challenges kids, what are ways that you can do kindness, one, without being caught, but two, without looking for that reciprocity. And to kind of move forward with that. And you don't need to be receiving all that actions for the kindness.
So you guys are out of the Reno area. What do you serve the whole country? Do you serve just kind of regionally? How does all that work?
It's pretty exciting. We do travel all over the country for our tours. So we're doing kindness tours, and as far as Hawaii, we've done New York, New Jersey we're hitting this year. We're doing Texas twice because it's so big. We're really taking over, but we're in a lot of the states across the country. We even have our Kindness Crew program existing in Germany right now, which is pretty cool. So we have an international footprint. And then we do actually have service trips that we take down to Africa to kind of keep with that. And we work with an orphanage in Africa with another nonprofit organization to kind of get that global impact in and help kids realize how big their world is and the different levels of kindness that are going on. So
So if I'm a school and I hear about you guys, what's kind of the process? How do they reach out to you? How do they, what levels of program, I guess, do they have access to? I mean, is there something literally that like curriculum wise where if they wanted to, they could purchase it or acquire it
yeah.
and then run a program, or of course they can have you guys come in or whatever. Talk a little bit more specifically there.
Yeah. So we have the two main programs with our school. They're both available on thinkkindness.org. If you check us out, we have our assembly program, which is we'll come in, we'll challenge students to 15 days and 5,000 acts of kindness. So challenge them, we bring posters, materials, engaging content. It's not your cookie cutter assembly. It's definitely something that's a little more hands-on. It's a little more in-depth. It challenges students to see if they can document that 5,000 acts of kindness. With our assembly program, we do a coast-to-coast tour, really trying to find the kindest school in America. So we take all the results from these, and being a nonprofit, we do have to document those results. And we count up acts of kindness, community service projects and projects for our global initiatives, and add it all together, kind of look for that kindest school in America. So last year, our kindest school in America came from a little tiny school right outside of Portland, Oregon, which is pretty exciting to hear from. And then it gives that school a little more entity, and it kind of makes it fun, like really gamifies the kindness. So that would be for our assembly program. But we also have a initiative and program that we do, which provides everything you need to create that kindness crew in your school. That kindness crew receives 10 months of content and curriculum. It receives videos, posters, materials, challenges, access to an online database with more information, and hands-on support with Brian and myself to make sure that your school is running well. And it creates kind of a kindness club in your school, making kindness super cool, really making it fun, really gamifying it. And it does the peer-to-peer learning, which has been really effective in kind of stopping those bully-related incidences.
So how do you guys, I mean, do schools pay for this, or do you guys have
Yeah.
outside support, or how does all that work?
So there is a cost to it. Unfortunately, we can't get plane flights across the country for free or materials printed for free. All of our operational costs are 100% covered. We're very fortunate to work with a foundation for that. We're also very fortunate to have received over $90,000 in grant funding to help us fund the development and whatnot for our programs, which has been a huge help. Makes it cool. It's one thing that I really like about our thing is that we are definitely kind of a cool, without being cliche, product. It's really exciting to work with. So there is a cost. Our year-round program is about $550 for the entire school year, but when that breaks down to it, that's less than a Starbucks. If you think of $550 for 10 months of content and curriculum. And then our assembly program, we try to bundle it up so we keep it at a low cost. If you get 3 or more schools, it's about $1,500 per school, but that price is a little bit harder to nail down because travel and local partnerships and community partnerships. So we always encourage schools to reach out to us, let us know their budget. And oftentimes, because we are a nonprofit and we're really good at receiving that grant funding, we can kind of wiggle around the rules a little bit.
So, there's one thing, it's one thing to do nice things and maybe even to do them, over a 15-day period or whatever. But ultimately, I think you'd agree that it's really about a heart change and a character change within an individual that turns us into a lifelong thing instead of just a, hey, this is cool thing for a week or two or whatever. So how do you guys go about kind of educating on that? I assume that's kind of tied into your curriculum.
Yeah. So our 10 months of the Kindness Crew project, it really is each month that you do a different life skill, and all with that underlying theme of kindness. So we have forgiveness, family, a month about you matter, teaching the value and importance of every student in your school, really kind of dialing down and getting excited about all that individual details. And not only are we teaching about the life skill, but we're teaching the impact of that skill. we're teaching, what would it feel like if everybody in your school felt valued? What would it feel like if your family felt valued? What are these little actions, and how did it make you feel, and how can you continue that ripple effect of kindness? So we really talk about that ripple effect and the long-term evaluation, long-term gain. Because we're nonprofit, we do a lot of surveys. We do a lot of kind of pre and post, and even a middle one. And that's kind of one way that we're making sure our program is effective. We don't want to send something out into the school just because it looks cool and it's fun to do. It's the end of the day, we're trying to create and change the culture in schools.
I love, I work with kids at my church, and I love the times where we've kind of thrown something out there as a challenge or whatever, and instead of telling the kids what to do, we let them figure it out for themselves. And of course, some get very motivated and get very involved, others not so much. And that's just life. That's just people. We're all wired differently. But what's maybe a couple of stories that you can cite that from the 15-day challenge or that have come out of your program that are memorable, where some kids maybe did, just kind of went over and above and just really got it?
It's super exciting to kind of see this program come to life. Our school in Portland did over nearly 40 acts of kindness per kid. So 40 documented acts, whether it's picking up trash in the hallways or kind of doing everyday, like the little things, wiping down whiteboards, being a new friend. And it's super exciting to see. And it's super exciting to see the kids are really making a change and the culture change is happening. In Carson City, we had a school reduce their bullying rates by nearly 35% just after our 15-day program, which is amazing. And if you're thinking that we're having that much of an impact in a short period of time, that extended on is just incredible. But kind of a cool secondhand effect of what we're doing is actually seeing some of the adults that we work with change. We see some of the educators are like, oh, I've never thought of that, or oh, what you guys are doing really matters. Or even, I catch myself, is that the kindest way you could have put something? Is this a positive way of looking? It's, kindness really kind of does become a way of life and a way of giving back. And it's about finding something that's bigger than yourself to give back to. And it's a neat kind of story to get in. It's really cool to see the impact and the excitement the kids have on it. I was actually traveling back from Portland a while back, and I noticed some kid, and I had my Kindness Ninja shirt on, and he's like, you are with the Kindness Ninja people? And it was cool because I was able to talk to him about the assembly. And this is probably some random 8-year-old I found in the airport, but he recognized us and was able to pick up what I was doing and who I was with. And he told me all about Gary, which is one of our speakers, and how cool he was for doing his ninja actions in schools, which is super exciting to see. So knowing that you're making that impact every day is really cool.
Do you do anything to intentionally get the adults, like the parents or the adults in the community, involved when you're there as well? Or is it just purely, with the kids at this point?
So our mission statement is actually inspiring acts of kindness in schools and communities across the globe. So that's part of that community aspect of it. All of our materials that go out, we do provide a parent letter for schools and a teacher letter. And we offer options like, how do you make this a community reality event? In cities that we're doing tours, we'll go out and receive a mayoral proclamation and kind of dedicate that day. This is Kindness Day 2017 in this school community. We have been picked up by USA Today. We have a documentary on Amazon, and it's really cool to see that culture shift and that dedication to kindness in the community through just the simplest acts that these kids are accomplishing. And I think even myself are inspired to hear about the millions of acts that we've completed of kindness just from these kids. And if a kid can do it, why can't we?
What's the documentary called?
Our documentary is called Inspire Hope, and it's about a lot of our work that we've done in Africa. So super exciting, a little bit tear jerky. Bring the tissues, but it's super cool to see.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. What is there anything else that you can think of that you really want to make sure that the schools that we're talking with today know about your program or what have you?
I think the number one thing I would take away is really be to dial down and kind of focus on the little things that we do. Because at the end of the day, even those small acts of kindness really do make a big difference. And whether that act of kindness is simply, being the first to share a smile or opening the door for someone, or, if you see something awesome, don't be afraid to say something. And that goes for teachers, educators, you and me, people walking down the street or kids. And I think it's too easy to overlook these things. So it's something that we can do as simply as that. And don't be afraid to reach out to us, even if it's something that you don't know if you can afford. So we're very flexible with that. And that's one thing that it's kind of cool working in a nonprofit, being able to give away kindness and that.
Awesome. What's if somebody says, man, this sounds good, I'd really like to learn more, what's the process by which folks can get in contact with you guys and then decide what program makes sense for them and kind of begin all that?
Yeah. So we do have a quick little process. You can go to thinkkindness.org and it'll give you information about how to sign up and register. Brian and my contacts info is both on the website. You can also reach out to us via email. My email is Erin, ERIN, @thinkkindness.org, or by calling our phone number at the office. It's 775-636-8026. So, or follow us on social media. It's always awesome. We're at Think Kindness on everything. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Very cool. Erin Fuss of Think Kindness, thank you very much for joining us on the School Zone today.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Hey, listeners, if you like what you've been hearing on the podcast, whether this is your first episode or you've listened to many, if you do us a favor and head on over to the School Zone Podcast Facebook page, like us, and if you see any episodes there that have specifically had meaning for you or that you've gotten a lot out of, if you wouldn't mind sharing some of those, that would be great. We're working hard to get the word out about what we do and about amazing nonprofits like Think Kindness and other companies that we've had conversations with. And the further that can go, the better it can be for everybody. Remember, the power of the podcast, the fact that you don't have to be 100% focused to learn about Think Kindness today. You can be driving down the road, you can be mowing the lawn, you can be working out or cooking dinner or whatever. So there's power in this platform, and it's my hope and prayer that this becomes more the norm in serving schools like yours and the educators, administrators, and volunteers in schools across the country. Erin, thanks again, and
No
God bless
problem.
you.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good one.
You too.